Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, as always, for clicking on the video. I appreciate you stopping in, whether it's your first time being here or it's your subsequent time being here. I appreciate the click and I appreciate you coming on in. As today we listen to a little bit more from Angine de Poitrine, Zyklek. I was working on the pronunciation briefly before pressing the record button. I'm not sure if I got it 100% correct, but at least we gave it our best here. We're going to listen to another track from the live performance, of course, over at KEXP, which I know I've mentioned it from the very beginning, but I'll reiterate it just to reiterate it. KEXP is one of the best modern places to find cool new acts that are hopping on, and sometimes not new, but just new and maybe getting some of the extra exposure, music on YouTube and such, and obviously on the radio. And I would highly just recommend, even outside of this video and obviously this music, giving it a chance and giving them a listen, because I mean, I've that's where I found Otoboke Beaver. Saw them on here. I said yes, please. Immediately looked up their tour and was able to see them just a few months later. So yeah, actually, I'm actually curious. Angine de Poitrine. Let's. I'm curious on their tour dates. Actually, before we even dive into the music, if you want to get into the music, then skip ahead a little bit. But I'm curious about their tour dates over here. I would not like my location noted. Only in Montreal, huh? Right now, currently in Quebec. So, which of course makes sense. Lucky for you over there, you wonderful Canadians up there. But nothing down here at the moment. Brussels, I see. Can't say anywhere near me at the moment, but I will keep an eye out and an ear out, of course. Let's go ahead and pull up the music. We will discuss it after Zyklek. Here we go. Sherpa has been my favorite so far. The tension they're holding. Gotta hold that beat steady. Nice, live with the bass. I love the dice on the knob there. And to keep that beat going so perfectly throughout this. Great little thing to keep that thing. Hit that 5/4, I hear you. Or 5/8. hits exactly right. They make it catchy, right? Feel this building up. The 16th notes on the hi-hat. Sounds like a distress signal. Nice release. Very nice rhythm there. Oh, I love how he faded on the toms there with that slide. Can I tell you? This particular performance seemed like the most progressive and the most complicated out of the tracks that we've listened to so far. Sherpa is still my favorite, but this one seems like the most mathiest of the math rock tracks that we've listened to, with just the amount of like very specific hits that especially the drummer has to get on beat with the groove of the bass and the guitar there. But he plays around with that quite a bit, which I think is really cool. He locks into a groove, but he plays around with the time signatures, which we heard quite a bit throughout this this particular track. We heard the time signatures changing several times. At one point it went into a 5/8 groove, which was really nice. But even from the very beginning, they set you up with a certain sound, a certain rhythm, and is of course where they're going to take you on that journey moving on. David Allen would be very proud of the band listening to them and seeing them. I can absolutely imagine. And I just think that this track takes you on a different kind of journey, right? This track included, I guess you could say in one respect, the way that they build up the songs is somewhat consistent, I guess you could say. In the way that they build them up, you know, they have a certain verse, chorus, break, you know, kind of aspect to them. Except, of course, instead of vocals, you get the guitar soloing or taking a lead. But it's the way they approach that structure and the way they kind of play around within it that kind of lends itself to a little bit more interest. I like how, once again, we hear a little bit of their voices coming through, their particular brand of vocals. Right? There's so many bands and groups and artists that have taken vocals and done it a very specific way. Daft Punk, of course. I don't know. Igloo Ghost, has his own alien language in his music. Like bands that approach their vocals and they have a certain direction, a certain creative notion that they bring into it. And of course, you hear that here with their very filtered vocals coming through the microphones. And I like whatever they're saying. I like how it adds like this kind of chorus to the music. I don't know what they're saying, but I would imagine at a live show, if you're watching them, you're hitting that chorus with them. Chorus, I use the term loosely, words or word with them in this track. But I think this was a really fun track. And the ending breakdown, let me bring you guys back up here if you don't mind. The ending breakdown I thought was really cool. How, of course, the music stops on a dime and they build it up in a way that's not like the typical heavy riffing kind of breakdown. Right here. Okay. When he starts going off in here on his guitar, that is such an interesting way to make this breakdown because it's aggressive. It's kind of staticky. There's an electricity kind of firing off of his fingers when he's playing that. And of course, for the drummer to break it out onto the 16th notes on the hi-hat, eventually to slightly open them as to give it a little more frantic feel as well. It's really cool before, of course, going right back to just hits like that. And this actually is where the heaviness comes in, just with that pounding beat. So instead of it being fast and frantic like here, this is the heavier part of the breakdown. Right? Just kind of come down a half on the tempo there and really get into the actual heaviness of the drums and, of course, the guitars that riffs there, which I think was really cool. That was just really fantastically performed. Like I said, Sherpa is my favorite track from the few that we listened to from the band. And can I tell you, I'm kind of curious, if you don't mind indulging me briefly, I'm actually curious to see if there's an interview with the band or anything of that nature that maybe we can hear a little bit more from them. So there's a couple here. Now I'm not going to watch a whole thing. I have to watch out for copyright and such, but you can at least get an idea.
The worldwide news right now. Here's Angine de Poor.
Like I said, I gotta be careful watching the whole thing.
You're the drummer, Sébastien Collin. You're the manager of these two costumed extraterrestrials who prefer not to reveal their identity
and don't speak our language. Yeah, we don't want to give up the
band
identities.
Internationally. Then there was the Transmusicalis in Rennes, which is a trendy festival where artists play.
There isn't that much because it's fun. We're having fun.
Yes, there's some play. There's some play in there. I think the proposition is very clear. There's something.
Like I said, I don't want to watch too much video of copyright issues. I don't know what Telecino Web Tele. I don't know how their copyright is, but it would be interesting to learn a little bit more about the band, not about the people behind the mask. We don't need their identities. Let's just learn about the music. Let's learn about what their creativity, what inspires them, where they want to go, et cetera, et cetera. But I think that's I think that's quite right. Hey, here's the website here. And I love their style, how they have themselves, of course, here on this site. Of course, I'll put that link in the description below. But I hope that you guys enjoyed it. And I don't think I even mentioned, I apologize in the very beginning, this particular video was sponsored by Sylvain. I appreciate it, Sylvain. Sorry for the late props, but thank you, Sylvain, for the suggestion. Thank you for the support. I hope that you guys enjoyed the music. As always, I appreciate you being here. Please come on back by again tomorrow. I hope to see you all then. And I will see you then. Bye, guys.